for you. Lance Bush is burning, it's burning for you.
Welcome to another edition of Len's Burning Bush. I am Len Harvey. Before I bring on my guest for the week, I want to talk about what's really burning my bush. So as of this airing, the NFL draft will be over soon. At least we hope it will, for the love of God. And like many high school graduations and long award shows, I wonder if we could ever cut time off of this event. It reminds me of the old soap operas when you see a woman visiting her husband in the hospital and he happens to be in a coma. And she says, "Did you hear me, Phil?" And maybe that ends the show and you come back 6 months later and you watch the same soap opera and she repeats, "I said, did you hear me, Phil?" They dragged this NFL draft on for 3 days now. And it's a full-blown mini-series. Day one is just the first round. I mean, for crying out loud, 1 day for the first round, with every team getting 10 minutes in between picks. Day two, they do rounds 2 and 3, and with the time down to 7 minutes. And then they do wrap it up finally in day 3 with rounds 4 through 7 with only 4 minutes between picks. I can never understand how people can go in person to these events only to sit there and wait hours only to be miserable most of the time because your team might not pick the guy that you want. I mean, you always get the wrong guy when you do it. Watching it on TV is just as bad, but at least you can nod off after you see your team pick. There has to be a better way. I know they want to capitalize on TV ratings, but really, it's like the Labor Day weekend telethon back in the day with Jerry Lewis. By day 2 in the morning on Monday, they're all disheveled and they got the ties all undone. And, come on, and even Mel Kiper Jr.'s hair isn't as good on day 3 as well. Have all 32 teams just do the picking before the airing, have the cards already done, so you don't need to wait the 10 minutes in between picks. You can broadcast it later that night, so it's done in 1 day. Plus, this way we could cut all the commentating on who they think is going to get picked because they never get it right anyway. Just leave Roger Goodell up there all night and give him all the cards already done, similar to the Oscars without the slap, of course. And at the end of the day, all anyone cares about is who your team's going to pick in each round. You could do that in a 2-hour show instead of 3 days. It's only 7 rounds, for crying out loud. And this year it's in Vegas, so at least you have the option to go to the casino already, but enough already. Next year, the 2023 draft is hitting Kansas City, so at least you'll be able to get some good barbecue. The only benefit to the draft is it ends all the months of mock drafts and all of the sports networks speculating on who will pick where and when, a pointless effort in futility in which they never get most of it right anyway. Who has 3 days to carve out to watch this crap, especially when you need to finish season 4 of Ozark, right? With that being said, it's time to bring on my guest for the week. He is the Senior Director of Transportation Mobility of New Jersey Department of Transportation. He is a friend of mine. We've worked together. Please welcome for the first time to Len's Burning Bush, the legendary Sal Cowan. And Sal, let me just do this and put you on the big screen here. But
the legendary, I like
the
that.
legendary Sal
like
Cowan.
That.
My Metro days were special, obviously, as you can see. Most of the guests have worked with me somewhere along the line at Metro, right?
I mean, either Metro or across the river when I was over at Shadow Traffic before they changed 16 different names.
Absolutely. It's just, it's fun, and I'm glad you're able to join because, we've been, and again, I apologize that I had to wait 108 episodes for you to get
waiting
on.
for my invitation, Lenny. After you had Cole Bryan, Sambo. I mean, I was like, all right, maybe I'll get the call. It's like watching the draft. I'm going to get the call one of these days. Maybe they'll pick me.
You were Mr. Was that Mr. Irrelevant is the last pick of the draft? But no, you're not. You're not Mr. Irrelevant. But this draft thing, and I know, we're all not sports fans like the way we used to be. But
totally.
I mean, what is up with 3 days of this nonsense to pick 7 rounds?
I think you brought up a good point. They can do it. You said they could do it in 2 hours. I think they could probably do it in a minute per team.
Yeah.
And it would probably be as exciting. People would be glued. It'd be like that one big sponsor program where it's like, PBS.
Yeah.
This show, Masterpiece Theater, is brought to you by Exxon, and it's the whole show, and that's all you get. And then you get an Exxon ad at the end. They could probably do that, and people will watch, right?
It's amazing what people will watch, but the NFL is like, for some reason, it's must-see TV. Everybody just loves it. They can't get enough of it. Now they got the USFL playing again, but it's not the same way I remember it. But it's just the NFL draft is one of those things where you can just find out who they pick later. I mean, it's not going to change. It's
what's the difference between USFL and I'm gonna pull a throwback here, Len.
Yeah.
Arena football.
Well,
what's the difference?
I love the arena football.
There's no barn. You're not jumping over you're not going to Iowa and playing the Barnstormers.
No, and you're not going up to Albany.
Barn.
That's right.
That was a great show, man.
Well, the USFL, what they've done now is they're playing all the games in Birmingham, which I don't understand that. I guess they wanted to keep everything for the pandemic, I guess.
What is there a big draw in Birmingham for the team?
No, they used to have a team that was the team in the USFL they had a Birmingham team, but I mean they brought back all the old names of the teams, but New Jersey. I actually had season tickets for the Jersey Generals back in the day, and one of our guests that have been on, Angelo Fioris, he's doing some work for the USFL now, and it's good stuff. I mean the problem is for me. The reason why the USFL succeeded, and we'll talk about other stuff, but the reason why the USFL succeeded back in the day when it did is they were able to get real NFL players because they paid them more.
True.
This is just a minor league, or it's a little bit better. But arena football was fun. I mean, hell, Kurt Warner got his gig with the Rams because of the Barnstormers.
Out of nowhere. I mean, we would watch. I remember we would go on the road. It would be Scotty and Tina and Joe and I.
Yeah.
I had just started at Metro in what was that, 96? 96.
Yeah.
And I'm going to Albany. I'm going to Iowa. We did LA. We did Miami. We did all these different places. It was phenomenal. Next thing you know, I mean, you're sitting there. I think it was Iowa. I don't have a dog, by the way. That's not my dog.
No, it's not my dog. I thought your dog does your dog bite?
Bite. So we go. I remember one of the first games that we had at it was the Continental Airlines Arena back then. And one of the sponsors was a hot tub company. And Governor Whitman was there, and they had a hot tub like field side. So arena football, you got, everything's surrounded, it's just like a hockey rink. Everything is surrounded. It's a football field inside of a hockey rink. And they had a hot tub just outside of the rink. And so they had a couple of what looked like Hooters girls in the hot tub. And the guys around them kept giving them drinks and partying and everything like that. Eventually word got back, you got to get the girls out of the hot tub. The hot tub's got to close right now. And it was just like, what happened? And they're like, something didn't go right in the hot tub, so the hot tub's gone. And it was like the first night, and then it was gone. That was the end of that sponsorship deal. But those were some good times, man. Yeah. I mean, I've seen places I probably would have never seen before if I would have never done arena football. I saw the country. Really, it was great. I saw the country.
Yeah, you did a great job with it. I got to go along with that as well with Tina and John, yourself, and Joe Nolan. We had a lot of fun doing it. And you reminded me with the hot tub. It reminded me of the scene from Back to School. He goes, "Hey, what's a bath without bubbles?" You know what I mean? So it's just it was
a little bit more than a bath with bubbles. Let me tell you, they were like, "That's gotta go."
Get rid of it. And I apologize for the dog barking. I decided it was a good idea to bring the dog downstairs.
Hey, it's your show, man. The dog can be a sidekick.
Yeah. Right? Our other dog unfortunately passed away, and we grabbed another rescue dog, and this dog, Ozzy, like Ozzy Osbourne, is a great dog, but he has some moments, he's a little bit rough around the edges, which you would expect from a shelter dog. So.
No, what kind of dog? What kind of breed?
He's a mix of German Shepherd mixed with Boxer.
Not a small dog.
No, he's decent size. Yeah, he's about 60 pounds or something like that.
Well, I mean, Shepherds can get pretty big.
Yeah.
I love German Shepherds.
Yeah, I do too. We're big dog lovers, and we take in dogs. And usually if they can't survive, it's like the old Frank Sinatra song, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. Well, if you can't make it here, you
can't make it. If you can't make it at Len's house,
no, then you're not going to
calling you back.
I'm sorry, but yeah, that's why we always feel kind of bad. But anyway, it's just, these.
Well, good for you for picking up shelter dogs, man. That's
my wife. Susan is a vet tech, and she's been an animal lover. I remember when we first got married, I was working, I believe I started working overnights for the old, and I had Del Gaudio on. We used to do Sports Line, 976 numbers in Jersey. And it wasn't the porn.
I remember the 976.
Yeah, it was like
I remember the
yeah.
So you did a sports one too, huh?
Yeah, okay. I worked overnights, and she wanted to have a dog, and we went to the Mawa, I guess Ramapo Valley Shelter at the time, and we grabbed. We called him Mozart was his name, and he was Go-Kart Mozart was 15 maybe when he passed. He lasted all the way through the move to Kentucky, and and then some, and then we had another dog, Maisie, in Montana. We've gone through the dog gamut. We love the animals. So it's good stuff. And so I mentioned about Ozark. Now we've got season 4 again, and I'm starting to watch. I don't know if it's already on Netflix. Have you watched any of Ozark?
So I have to admit, I'm not an Ozark fan. I have a 14-year-old daughter. I have an 11-year-old son. My life revolves either around Roblox or it's this crudely drawn cartoon, BFDI, Battle for Dream Island. All these different kinds of stuff. It's got to be like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning when everyone else is asleep that I find out what is actually on in terms of, and not adult TV, but like adult TV, like what I haven't gotten Ozark yet. No.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's fantastic. There's 4 seasons, and what they did is I did an episode on this too, to binge or not to binge, and what they did was they screwed me up. They put part of season 4. They released it several months ago.
Okay.
And then I binged watched it. I thought I was done because the season was supposed to end, or the series was supposed to end. But no, they just dropped another I guess 4 to 6 episodes or 8 episodes. Oh. So now that started this weekend. So
you go back and watch the first parts of it again?
No, they give you they give you a recap, so it was enough for me to catch up because it wasn't. But normally, like I don't know, Better Call Saul is one that I liked. But I've missed a few seasons, and I got to go back and watch. But it's like you forget that they've been off the air for like a year and a half or 2 years. It's too long. It was like The Sopranos back in the day, where they would be off for like 18 months. You have to go back and watch. That's a show that I've watched 3 times in its entirety.
Really,
The Sopranos. I love I can't get enough of it. Have you watched it?
I've seen The Sopranos ad nauseum. And because they filmed in Jersey. I'm down here in central Jersey. I'm just north of Trenton, just south of Princeton. And what winds up happening is, as I drive, I've got offices all over the state. And a lot of my guys that work on the field, they're on the interstates. They're up in North Jersey, Central Jersey, South Jersey. So whenever I go up into that northern part of New Jersey, over like the Hudson County, over by Jersey City, Newark, Kearney, there's one spot that I remember where Chris Moltisanti, when he got shot, it was right underneath Pulaski Skyway. I mean, you see that stuff and you're like, I know where that is. I know it. And, you see these places and it kind of gives you that, it makes you reminisce like, oh, that was in my neighborhood. But the shows that I've been watching, man, what was the one that I really, really liked? Oh, Sons of Anarchy. I could watch that over and over and over. That was on FX though. That wasn't on Netflix. Yeah. But Sons of Anarchy had some great actors. I mean, Peggy Bundy, what's his name? Hellboy. I forgot.
Yeah.
Ron Perlman.
Right.
The guy who played Opie with the big long hair. I mean, he was in so many different things. There was something, if you remember, when you start looking at people in the movies and the shows that you really like, and then they start showing the gigs that they used to have, like some of the stuff that James Gandolfini did. He was in. Oh man, what was that submarine or like a Navy movie with Denzel Washington?
Oh yeah.
And you think to yourself, you're like, holy crap, he was in that too. Like it doesn't click until you get those old clips. Like, hey, did you know that James Gandolfini was in this movie too? It's like, holy crap.
Do you know what's kind of funny is my father-in-law, who's 93, God bless him, he lives with us.
God bless him.
And we sit and we'll watch some old TV shows. Like Kojak's been on, and the Rockford Files. And one of the things, you look back at the shows and they aged pretty well. They're They're actually still pretty good. So you
McMillan,
watch the show. What's that?
So my dad, again, my dad passed, decades ago, but he taught me about Taxi, MASH, McMillan and Wife, Hunter, Magnum PI, Quincy MD.
Oh,
what a show! Quincy MD. I mean, like Odd Couple, and then of course he'd be like, I want to show you this show, and he shows me Benny Hill, and I'm just like, oh, man, that Monty Python. When we were growing up, you're talking Netflix, I'm talking FX. I don't know how many cable channels you have, how many subscription things you got. We were growing up, it was 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, and then you had the twisty dial.
Yeah, channel 68.
21, 31, 40, 40, what is it, 41 and 47. Univision Telemundo, I think they were still on those dials. I think they still are. And then you got all the way to 68, and it was like U68, like the original like cable channel.
Yeah, that was Womeco Home Theater back.
Womeco, that's what we had.
Yes, we had it too.
HBO.
Yeah, they showed the Islander games.
Yep.
And then they also showed movies. I remember watching like it
Blazing
was
Saddles.
the Blazing Saddles, but they actually had on Billy Crystal and Gregory Hines in Running Scared was on that. I remember watching that on Womeco Home Theater. Everybody's like, what? We've just lost half the audience, but I don't care. I love television. It's just, older television, but I like watching the old shows. And you mentioned like Taxi. How brilliant was that? Because like Jim, I love, I do an impression obviously of Jim Ignatowski, Christopher Lloyd, who later played in Back to the Future, but he was in Taxi.
Yeah.
So Christopher Lloyd is one of those voices that you can always hear, and he always sounds like him, regardless of what other. Every once in a while, like he starts off normal, but then he always has that Jim Ignatowski moment. It's like Marty, 1.21 gigawatts. But so when he was in Taxi, there was an episode, the funniest episode I have ever seen was the episode where he's taking his driving written test.
That's it. Slower.
Spoiler alert. Okay. So he goes and asks, Alex, Bobby, and Elaine, and they were sitting at the table next to him. And he goes to, he whispers, he goes, what does a yellow light mean? And they say, slow down, Jim.
Slow.
And he goes, what does?
But I mean, like, if you think back, like someone who has maintained their ability to keep an audience, Danny DeVito. I mean, from Taxi way back when to the movies that he did. I mean, Batman that he did. He did Throw Mama from the Train. Great movie where,
Oh, and you comes you poop. That's another. Yes.
There was that. And now in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yes, he's very good in that too. But he was great even in you remember he came on as a guest in Friends. He was the stripper. He played the male stripper. That you got to go back and watch that. He was the male. He's brilliant in everything he does, and you're
really
right.
Is. And what I didn't know until years later when Taxi was on, Rhea Perlman was his wife.
Yes.
I didn't know that Rhea Perlman was his wife.
They were married for a long time. They got divorced, I guess, in the last 10, 15 years. But yeah, they were married a long time. They were together, but there was a lot of those characters in that show. I mean, even Carol Kane, who played Lotka's wife, she played in a lot of things, going on. But getting back to the original thought here, we're talking about Kojak.
We had thought a little while ago.
I had a thought, but I don't remember. But getting back to that, the reason I brought it up is because you watch the shows and you see all the actors. You're like, I go ahead and I'll Susan has a habit of she'll look it up on IMDb, like, what episode is it? And I'm like, I know that's such and such. And she goes, well, let me check. And sure enough, I'm right. It's like that they played such and such and whatever. And I'm like, oh my goodness, because Kevin Dobson is on that show and he later went on to Knots Landing fame.
Oh, wow.
Then he was selling gold. And then of course, then there was Will Devane who was selling the gold to to people, right? And you got Tom Selleck, who was in Magnum PI. Now he does Blue Bloods. He was in Friends.
Show. What a great, I mean, you know, and you know, growing up, it was Hill Street Blues.
Yeah.
Or, you know, and I mean, you know, when we were growing up, it was Sunday night. It was Cops. Bad boys, what you? Like, that was the original. Like, holy crow, this is like reality TV beyond the MTV Beach Houses of the. It's like, you know, Cops is filmed, and I'm like, holy crap, they're gonna get him. And it was like you'd watch it, and it kept you. And you know, I think now more and more you have. You know, for a while it was okay, the networks, and then it was okay, HBO is the place where everybody's going to go. Now they're all over the place. They're on Apple, they're on Netflix, they're on, you know, all these different platforms, and they're great shows.
Oh, fantastic!
Like, it's almost like a rebirth of television. My wife is addicted to anything that's Viking or anything that's like Elizabethan England.
Really? That's something that I have no interest in at all.
I mean, look, the Vikings
good for her.
is cool, but after a while, you know, you sit there and you're like, what are we going to watch? I go to the old favorites. I throw on the Marvel movies all the time. If I were to move this camera and show it all around, you'd see Star Wars memorabilia, Marvel memorabilia. I got my old, I got it. Hold on. Here we go.
I mean, I'll put you on the big screen here.
With my original Yoda from when I was probably, what was that, 9? And my friends who are watching this are probably thinking to myself, "You got it out of the box, you idiot!"
Yeah, I love the stuff. I played with the stuff out of the box. I had original stuff like that, and we had to play with it. Yeah,
when we were growing up, you know, I'm not originally from New Jersey. I'm originally from South Queens. And you know, whenever we got these toys, you know, be running around, you'd be playing in people's backyards. But when I was like 11 or 12. You know, my friend Gasper and I, we'd take the train, we'd go into New York City, we'd take the A train, and the A train would take you right to Canal Street. And what did young boys like to buy on Canal Street right before the 4th of July? Fireworks. I can't tell you how many of my Star Wars toys got one arm, one leg. We got a big hole in the chest. I was like, that's a blaster wound. My friend's like, you just ruined that toy that you could have probably sold for like college books or something like that years later.
Yeah, it's the things we did. I used to take baseball cards and put them on my spokes in my bike and get the sound of it. And I also used to flip the cards when they had the colors and you would match them, and then people would take your card. It was kind of a fun thing to do. We didn't realize in the 70s that the cards would be worth anything until later on in the 80s, where it was that big boom of things, and I've got them in my basement. And now they're worth nothing, right?
They're right over here.
Yeah.
Donruss, Fleer.
Yeah.
What was the other? What was not Donruss?
Upper Deck.
Tops. That was the big one because Tops.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was Donruss, Tops, or Fleer. It came with the roofing shingle piece of gum. Right?
Yeah, that was Tops. Tops had the gum, and what I loved is buying the pack from. It's like you looked years ago and you would still try the gum, and it was pretty bad. Yeah, it was bad then. Yeah,
it came out of some factory somewhere where they're like, "What do you want to do with all the old asbestos, Jimmy?" I don't know. Let's make some gum. Quoting from baseball cards.
This is why I needed $7,000 worth of dental work because I had back in the day.
Don't even start. We had the Big League Chew.
Yes,
so my friends and I, we'd go and we'd buy baseball cards. We flip them, but we were always looking for oh man, what was his name? I have Darryl Strawberry rookie card.
Yeah. Ken Griffey Jr. maybe?
I don't have Ken Griffey Jr. Ken Griffey Jr. was the one, if you remember, on the edge of the baseball bat, there was something written on the bottom of the bat that made it like extra special. Home run. Were you with us when we were in Houston for the home run derby? Well, not when the home run derby. That whole year of baseball when everybody was, you know, on some kind of medication and everybody's just slamming home runs. It was after the strike, I thought.
Yeah, well, that was 90. So the baseball 98 was the year that Sosa and McGuire.
That's whose rookie card I have. McGuire's rookie card. And, you know, we'd play with them all the time. We'd have such a blast looking at these cards. Now they sit in cellophane wraps underneath, you know, my Good Housekeeping Illustrated Cookbook and my Russert Stories of Our Fathers books on my shelf. But, you know, look, when you're younger, could you imagine if you had the money now that you spent on baseball cards or
Oh,
stuff like that, you'd have a much better dartboard behind you. You'd have
I
like
would. Yeah,
golden
exactly.
flight.
Yeah, the on-air sign would be brighter. It would. People that are watching on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter are seeing that, but it's if you're listening on other platforms, make sure you check out the video as well. But yeah, it's there's a lot of things that you look back at, and do you realize? We talked about getting old, and it's okay. We're
It happens.
realize, right? It happens.
There's worse things that can happen.
Absolutely, there are worse things that life could do. Anyway, 30 years ago, the movie League of Their Own came out. You remember the movie? There's no
crying in baseball. Is that Madonna?
Yeah, all of it. John Lovitz is in it. Yeah, Rosie O'Donnell, Tom Hanks, Gina Davis.
Right.
Yeah, all the people in there. Penny Marshall, unfortunately, the director has passed away.
Yeah,
but
she was brilliant. She was absolute. Didn't she do a lot of the? It was her. What was there was a whole slew of television shows. Penny Marshall. That was Laverne and Shirley, right? There was Happy Days. That whole genre generated so many people that went from camera to behind the camera. Ron Howard, all those people. But where's Ralph?
Gary Marshall was Penny's brother, and Gary created all of those TV shows and Happy Days, Mork and Mindy, all of the shows that kind of followed Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley, later on, and certainly Brilliance on that. Those were #1 shows.
Oh yeah,
and he created back in those days and. Yeah, there was a lot of good.
Springboard for so many good actors, and down the road, as you look at it down the road, some of them really continued. Jack Ritter, I remember when Jack Ritter passed. He must have passed in like the late 2000s or something like that. And he had,
you mean John Ritter or
John Ritter, not Jack.
Yeah, he died unfortunately died in 2002, I believe.
Yeah, and he had just started a new show.
Yeah, 8 Simple Rules for Dating My Daughter.
It was like a rebirth for him and so many of these people. I mean, there's such great shows out there. And now I'm going to go back. I'm going to go. There's probably I don't know which network it'll be on, like TBS or something like that. Trying to find those shows.
Yeah, well, the good part is now with your remote, if you've got a Roku TV, you could just search and it'll tell you what platform it's on, and you could just find it. Because otherwise, you're sitting there for hours trying to. There's too many. Like, here's the problem I have. Okay, so I'm going to give you another lens burning bush moment here.
Go ahead.
So last night, I have the MLB app through T-Mobile. I was able to get. I pay for so I can watch the Yankees.
Right.
So last night, I'm trying to watch the Yankees, and they're on Apple TV. Right. So I figured that because I'm an MLB subscriber, I could still get it. Right. No, wasn't on. So I'm paying all this money for everything, like between Hulu, Netflix, Google Play.
You still have cable, right?
Yeah. I still have. I have Dish Network, but anyway, I have all this stuff, and I pay for all this stuff. I'm not asking you to give it to me for free, but the money that I pay, I should be able to watch the Yankees if I want. And no, it's on Apple TV, which again, I'm not going to get another streaming service. I mean, I have probably 10 already.
Yes, you will. You'll figure out. You'll do the math like I did. What don't I need in my cable subscription?
Yes.
That I can now offset, because this house, man, it's all about the cartoons. So we offset it with Disney Plus.
Yeah, I have Disney Plus.
The Amazon Prime, which
got that too.
You don't realize how quickly that. I do my taxes. I dump everything into a spreadsheet, right? And then you do file sort and everything like that. And I do file sort Amazon. It's got to be like 300 lines. And it's the Amazon Music, it's the Amazon TV, and then Christmas purchases. I don't know about you. I got a pool in the backyard, so
I have a pool.
Inflatables and barbecue grills, and I need new plastic chairs. I mean, they deliver. I'm surprised they haven't delivered cars to your house. Click a button and you get a new Hyundai or something like that.
Here's the funny story about that. So. We have a neighborhood group page, which if you've ever been on a neighborhood group page on Facebook, it's a nightmare most of the time.
Most of the time, it's people complaining.
Yeah, that's all they do, right? Well, one of the things that happens on the group page is my Amazon package, whatever, didn't come, or it says it was delivered and such and such. And here's the problem. You got all these people ordering crap. They don't even know what the hell's coming.
Nope, they don't.
And they just put it in their garage, right? It gets put in the garage. And who knows? We might have 6 years from now, we might find that package that the person was looking for. It's just that we're at a point now where it's getting out of control, right? You don't even know. Like I get a package. We get a package at our house almost every day because my wife's ordering something is getting ordered, right? I don't love to order. I like to go to the store still.
Yeah,
I do order some stuff online. Don't get me wrong.
Do you guys do the food? You what is it, Instacart or any of that stuff? You do food?
We do. Sometimes we do the cart. But we actually started to get meat delivered. We did the good chops. Chops.
Was that the oh man, what was it called? Because I found them during the pandemic because everybody started buying as much stuff as they could. There was a steak. Oh, what was the name of the company? I still get mail from them. They send me
Omaha Steak, or is it
Steaks? That was it.
Yeah.
You turn around and be like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have potatoes au gratin tonight and bacon. Meanwhile, it's like I never eat like this.
No. Well,
you're in the middle of a pandemic, and it's like, how do you want your bacon-filled meat? And you're like, I'm meat, chicken, and potatoes.
No, I love it. So Good Chop is actually very good, and I order a lot of New York strip steaks, and it's you get the big box, and it's about $200, I guess, but it's not cheap. But you get a lot of good the quality is fantastic. We grill them up, and I got to be honest, you don't have to. You could subscribe anytime. Like you can pick it up because I had it for a few months, and then I said I've pretty much maxed out. Like I don't need it every month. Yeah. But now I'll probably reorder in the summer because at the pool we grill out a lot, so you grab a couple of steaks. Nothing, and they have pork chops and chicken and all kinds of stuff. So
when we did the Omaha Steaks, the thing, the food was great. It was great that it was available. You notice that more and more people started recognizing, like, okay, I'm not going to get in the store, so they're all finding the various places. It's like when nobody could find toilet paper, it's like I started buying it at Staples because people didn't think toilet paper and Staples, right? Like they didn't put two and two together. But the thing that bugged me the most, and it's such a petty little thing about Omaha Steaks, was the gigantic styrofoam box that these things come in.
Oh,
and I'm like, I can make like a house in the garage with all these styrofoam containers, and I'm like, okay. So
hey.
I drew eyes on them once, so that it looked like these big eyes were in the garage.
You know what those styrofoam
coolers?
They're good for coolers. Yeah, they can. Throw some ice in it, and you got just put some beer we bought a Tommy Bahama cooler for our deck.
Nice.
And for the summer months, we roll it out there. Right. We put ice in it, and we have our drinks. And then we take like a smaller cooler to the side of the pool. So it's like you got your own bar set up, and you can drink and whatever. And
we had when we were kids, when the kids were a lot younger. Yeah. They don't want this now. But we used to get, it was like an inflatable pool. So it was a pool, right? And in the middle of it was like a palm tree. And so what we used to do was we'd fill the pool with water, because you can't, if anybody knows anything about, trying to keep drinks cool, my dad taught me this. He's like, when you're a bartender, you got to keep the drinks cold. You got to keep the beers cold. Don't just put ice. Just ice doesn't do it.
No.
Ice and water. And I'm like, okay, ice and water. So I take the juicy juice or the little Mott's or the little things like that, and I throw them into the pool, like 3 cases of them, throw them in the pool, run the hose, because the hose was good for me, it's good for them,
Yeah, absolutely.
And then just bags and bags of ice, and that stuff would stay cold till like the next day.
Oh, I know.
You reach in, and I always had to realize I can't put the beer in the same inflatable toy pool that I keep the juicy juice. I see my son Sean walking around.
Yeah, hey. Yeah, we start promoting that. I remember my son was 4. Yeah. I had John Sterling is the Yankee announcer. I don't know if you know him. He does the Yankees win, right?
So does he do the little
yeah, pretty much. Well, what happened was a friend of mine bought me a Yankee bottle opener that every time you opened up a drink, it would say, it's high, it is far, it is gone, the world, and so my son loved to hear this. So
Daddy, drink another. Daddy, drink another. Let's I can't drink any more beer.
4 years old, he's opening up the bottle of beer for me.
Oh yeah.
That's
when you were. So let me ask you a question. When you were, when your kids were younger, I know we're talking not too many years ago.
Yeah, no.
But I remember when my daughter got christened, there was a restaurant right across the street from the church, and so she was totally out cold. So I was drinking. I remember I had the picture. So had an Amstel. And I'm like, it's her party too. And it was empty. I'd finished the Amstel. I take the Amstel, I lay it on top of her. And so she's in the little carrier thingy that you snap into the car. And so my daughter's just like this. And there's a big Amstel bottle like right on her chest.
Oh my!
That's like pictures of us growing up.
Yeah.
You know, where like our grandparents in like the 70s are like, here, let's watch him take a smoke. Here we go. Smoke the cigarette, little kid.
You gotta smoke it.
Speaking of, put M&Ms on little kids' heads as they're sleeping, like make fun of them. We'd make them talk like little marionettes, move their lips to songs. These were fun, man. They were really fun.
I always talk about things and getting older and all this stuff. I always talk, unfortunately, you have a born on date and an end date. And my end date, I want basically a $5, $10 cover and a 4-drink minimum at my facility. So apparently there's a grandma now. I don't know if you've seen this. She's on TikTok. Her name is Lillian Droniak. She's 92 years old. She's known. She's got, basically talking about she doesn't want excessive crying. That's not going to be tolerated at her funeral. Now, she doesn't think she's going to go anytime soon, but she shares videos on TikTok, her life, dating, and bingo, of course. Gotta love bingo. But she talks about the 3 simple demands of her funeral. It won't be anytime soon, but don't forget it. She captioned the clip, which now has about 31 million views. You can cry, but you can't cry too much. Okay. And she doesn't want anybody to make a fool of her for themselves. But I think it's great that she's having a TikTok account at 92. God bless.
You know what? I don't have it. And it was funny, when you were reaching out to me, like, hey, if you've got social media, if you want to tell your friends that you're going to be on the show, I was like, great. I got a work Facebook account. I got a private Facebook account. I got LinkedIn. I got Instagram. I haven't stepped foot in the TikTok world.
No.
It kind of, the old man, it kind of scares me, Lenny. I don't know what the TikTok is going to do. So I'm like, it's video, right? And and some of the ones I watch are hysterical, right? It's just like, it was at this moment he knew he messed up, and then something ridiculously wrong goes on.
It's basically Jackass just all day.
Well, that's what it is. I don't need TikTok then.
We don't need. We can watch the movie Jackass or do whatever. But anyway, we could sit here and talk all day. It's been a pleasure. But you can like Len's Burning Bush on Facebook at Len's Burning Bush. You could follow along at Len's Burning Bush on Twitter, YouTube channel, Len Harvey and Len's Burning Bush. It's under there. You can listen on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Podbean, iHeartRadio, Alexa. You can even ask Alexa to say, "Hey, play."
It'll all go off.
It'll go off.
I got 4 of them. They'll all go off.
Play Len's Burning Bush podcast, and they will do that. But say podcast, because when you just say Len's Burning Bush, we don't know what's going to happen. And you're watching live on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter. You can watch all of the episodes and take a look at that. I wanted to play this a little bit more for you. I don't know if you liked the theme song, but thanks to the band Blue Jelly, who's friends of mine in Northern Kentucky, they are playing this. They came up with this.
I hear it every week.
It's burning for you.
Jimmy Beatonbender and the guys over at Blue Jelly. It's classic.
Hey man, you get your own theme song. What can be better than that?
I mean, come on. They're a great band and they do a good job. But you
should play it every time you walk in the office or whenever you come home. There should be like a chime in the deli every time you walk in. Len's Bush.
Well, another one they did for me about a year ago is they did "How Can We Sleep When Len's Bush Is Burning?" A little Midnight Oil, right? That was the other one. So they did it. They're a great band. Check them out in the Northern Kentucky area. Well, Sal Cowan, it has been an ultimate pleasure.
Always good to see
you are a treasure, and keep it going. You'll have you on again, maybe episode 250. I don't know.
I was going to say we need to wait another 108 episodes, Lenny.
We need 108 episodes. I cannot believe it. Thanks to Sal Cowan. Thanks to my band, Blue Jelly. Look at this. It's like we're the Tonight Show now. I got a band. Yeah, we'll just keep playing it.
You play me off? Is that what you're doing? Took me on your name. Now you're going to play me off.
Yeah, exactly. But it's great. I appreciate everybody. Thanks to them for my theme song. I'm Len Harvey. We'll be back with another episode of Len's Burning Bush next week. So long.